Welcome to Waxing Comical. With me today is
Pod-
Dave.
Podcast. Hi.
If they don't know it's a podcast by this point, it's too late.
Well, maybe they think they've just gone blind.
And me, Luke.
Hi, Luke.
Today,
More like to Dane.
I'm going to have to take all of this out and start over. I'm going to burn this podcast to the ground and rebuild.
You Irish?
Is that what the Irish do?
I don't know, I'm just going to start making up stereotypes, I think.
Burning podcast to the ground?
Very specifically that, yes.
Podcast burners and potato famines. Anyway,
Potatoes.
Let's see. In this episode, we talk about Black Science by Rick Remender.
It's real good.
Mostly just the first volume, because
that's all we've read. I've read the first 3.
So, Dane gets high and mighty in this episode.
Oh my god, I take it too far, probably.
Wait till you see what he does this time.
Wait till you hear what he does. I can't see, there's no optical element to this.
Maybe there is.
Maybe you're secretly filming all of these.
Yeah, it's not flattering for either of us.
Oh, you're plenty pretty.
Thanks. I won't say the same about you, because then it'll seem insincere.
I don't want to be a liar.
And also, Superman Earth 1.
Volume 3, and actually all of it. So, yeah, what you said.
You cover a good bit of it.
Yeah.
By J. Michael Straczynski. And a little bit in the intro about Metal Gear Solid 5.
But this is the intro.
The early part of the episode.
The epilogue to the intro.
The prologue to the episode. Which I have played a little bit more of since recording the episode, and it is...
Rad as hell.
It's great. I love it.
I heard you got a dog.
I got the dog, and I'm going to raise him to be mine. And
actually, Ocelot raises him.
Shut up. He'll love me more than anyone else.
There is a button so you can pet him.
Well, I know what I'm going to be doing for the rest of the game. And it's petting him. And also capturing other wild animals.
Yeah, you can get like traps to just lay on the ground, and they'll have been captured at the end of the mission, so you get them automatically.
Yeah, I got some of those, and I captured some sheep. And those are the only animals I've seen so far, other than the dog.
I've got zebras, bears, sheep, mules, other stuff, birds. Also,
a couple of Irishmen.
a lot of humans. And some children.
There was some overflow. There was no place for them to work, so had some extra cages. Yeah. That about sums up the episode that you're about to listen to.
It's pretty stellar, you guys.
Yeah. We are...
That's a word that we don't use enough as a society.
One episode away from 10 episodes. Double digits.
The old double D.
Then we'll know we finally arrived.
We can buy leather jackets.
Speak for yourself. I already have a leather jacket.
Me too. It's right here.
On layaway?
On this chair.
That's just a chair, Dane. There's no jacket
it's
there.
It's a chair with a jacket on it.
I don't know.
Sometimes I also wear it. The chair lets me.
On every other Sunday?
More, unless he has like a date or something.
Yeah.
He is a rocking chair.
I'm going to leave on that note.
I would.
Enjoy the episode. Follow us on Twitter at Waxing Comical, because we say stuff sometimes.
Sometimes. We mostly just post links to this episode.
Or
just this one, though.
Or humorous pictures from comics.
Yeah, like when Ninjak dressed like a prostitute.
Oh, what a time that was.
What a time to be alive.
Enjoy. Yeah, I just started Metal Gear Solid 5, which, well, does Ground Zeroes count as part of Metal Gear Solid 5?
Yeah,
Because,
yeah, it's all Metal Gear Solid because I think it's like it's all under the banner of Metal Gear Solid 5, and then it has subtitles. But I mean, Ground Zeroes is basically the tanker part of Metal Gear Solid 2 off Metal Gear Solid 5.
pretty much, but shorter and should not be sold as a $20 extra.
Yeah, well, I got it cheap. Like when I first got my PS4, it was on sale like that week. Um, but then like just a few months ago, it was free on PlayStation Plus. But I mean, I played it before that, so that was fine. But I didn't mind paying for it. But it's kind of annoying.
Well, I essentially got it for free. I found a good
Yeah.
deal, but yeah, it still bugs me. But yeah, I, I have a lot of questions. I've now played Ground Zeroes and the prologue, which I thought was itself the prologue for Metal Gear Solid 5, but then there's another prologue in Phantom Pain.
Yeah, it's the prologue for Phantom Pain, not Metal Gear Solid 5.
Fucking whatever. And I've got a lot of questions about it, but I also don't want to spoil anything, and I'm sure there's more stuff to figure out, but I don't know who the hell I am or what's going
Big
on.
boss. Big boss.
See, that's what I thought at first, but then it's like, here, we're going to reconstruct your face, make your face. And I picked a new face, and they're like, alright, here you go, your face is new now. Oh, let's put the mirror down for a second, and oh, you're back to what you were a minute ago. It was all a sham. Somehow.
Yeah, because doctors aren't good at their jobs.
And then a mysterious other patient comes in who has Kiefer Sutherland's voice.
And an ass crack on show.
And an ass crack on show.
Saying yes to crack.
But, I feel, at that point, didn't whoever I was playing as, the main character, have a different voice actor? Because he had, one or two lines.
Did he?
Right at the beginning. Yeah, and it sounded like it was distinctly someone who wasn't Kiefer Sutherland.
When I don't remember him saying anything. Unless they updated it and added something.
I mean, I don't remember what it was, but just something
Because all I remember is
right at the beginning.
him waking up to David Bowie and Nurse Boobs, and then the doctor talking, or the nurse going and telling everybody that V has come to, and then the doctor being like, hey, by the way, you got a bunch of shrapnel in your face, dummy.
Oh, and one of your arms isn't here.
Also that. Here's a hook.
It was after he got out of bed, I think, but I think shortly after that, I feel like they said something. Maybe I
don't
misheard
remember.
something or whatever. But then,
I mean, it's been 3 months since I played that part.
But at least the other guy was definitely Kiefer Sutherland.
Yeah, he's definitely Kiefer Sutherland.
And then we escaped the hospital after a whole bunch of fire magic, and he got shot and apparently dead. And that was the last I saw of him. And I don't know who was who or what's going on, and it's confusing.
Big boss.
I'm,
That's the Speed Force answer. That's the Speed Force midichlorian answer of Metal Gear Solid. Big boss.
Well, I mean, let's see, the first Metal Gear, the original Metal Gear game, and then Metal Gear Solid 4, and now this game, have all included a plotline of who knows who Big Boss really is. I don't know. I guess I'll just keep at it and figure something out.
Yeah, good. Just enjoy the next 40 to 50 hours that you play.
I will.
It's a long-ass game.
So I remember hearing it, or I think it was you who told me a theory that you had heard before the game even came out, that the main character would be the pilot from Ground Zeroes.
Yeah, the helicopter pilot.
Taking Big Boss's identity, which
Yeah. hasn't
really been not confirmed for me yet. I'm sure that information is out there, but for people who have already played the game, unlike me.
Yeah, 3 months ago.
Yeah. But, I don't know. I'm hoping it doesn't turn out that in every previous game, Big Boss has just already been dead for 30 years.
Yeah, they put him on, strings, and they have a guy behind him working his mouth.
Yeah, Psycho Mantis. Also, there apparently is a new Mantis-themed character, I would assume.
Apparently that is Psycho Mantis.
Is it? Well,
which is not a spoiler because they never actually say it in the game, but it's Psycho Mantis.
It's a spoiler because now I know I'm not going to be able to kill him.
Because he's a child. There's children later. If you kill any of them, you get a game over because they're children.
But I can do it anyway, is what you're saying.
Yeah, you can. The game ends, but you can do it as much as you want. Actually, I did have a fight with a child that kept coming at me with a machete, and I had this was like a rematch. The first time was me using like a trank gun, and the second time I had a machine gun that shoots rubber bullets. So he kept coming at me, and I just kept going like, and he just like it's like tiny punches.
That didn't put him down, though?
Eventually it did. It took a while.
I would think one would... what kind of a child are we talking? Like, was he 17 and a half?
No, like, let's see, like 12.
Yeah, I would think one rubber bullet should be enough. Or one
It took a lot.
tranquilizer dart.
I mean, this was like a cool kid. He had like, his hair was like slick back, and he had a machete.
Can you, like, shoot him in the kneecaps with regular bullets?
I didn't try. He was coming at, like, he's pretty swift. He was coming at me. So I was, getting his body.
Center
and
of mass.
Probably in the head as well. Just frantically, because he's like coming at you with a machete, and all I have is rubber bullets.
He's real bruised up. So, comics.
I was gonna say, this is a really good comic podcast so far.
I just finished reading the first volume of Black Science.
I read all 3 the other day.
Which is...
I was like, Luke's gonna be all caught up. I should get caught up too.
I'm not caught up.
I know, so now I can't talk about some stuff because dumbass over here, meaning you because you're the only other one here, hasn't caught up.
Oops. Yeah, Black Science, which is not about Neil deGrasse Tyson. Are you wincing at that? No
I'm wincing and holding in laughter. It's a whole emotion.
Is that not Jeff?
This has been a real roller coaster so far.
I'm liking it so far.
I really enjoy it.
It's not my favorite thing. I'm hoping it gets better.
It does.
But, okay. Because it's like, I mean, it's not bad so far, but it's definitely like a harder science fiction than I'm used to.
Yeah, that's kind of how Rick Remender's like indie sci-fi comics are. Other than Fear Agent, Fear Agent is awesome right off the bat. Like because he's good at world building, but you kind of have to get into it.
Okay.
Like Low, I was not expecting to like it. The first issue, The first issue sucks without the context of the further issues. Like if I went back and reread the series, I'd like the first issue a lot more. But it just kind of throws you into it.
That was kind of how I felt about Black Science, yeah.
Yeah, especially Black Science, because that starts literally in the middle of an adventure, and then it like shows you the flashbacks to how they got there.
Yeah, even though that took a while.
Whereas, Low is like 10,000. It's at least 10,000 years in the future, and I guess the sun has gone supernova. Everyone lives under the ocean in like dome cities, and the oxygen's like turning into poison basically because of how many times it's been recycled. So this woman is trying to like get to the surface and find this probe that she says is found like a habitable planet. And I think Volume 2 ends with them finally about to break the surface. So we'll see. And everyone just keeps dying all the time. There's been one main character so far, because every other character thinks like, oh, they're going to be the main character, just dies. Don't care.
Yeah, I read a little bit of there's like a foreword in the Volume 1 of Black Science, and one of the things the guy...
Or did you download the issues?
Hmm?
Do you own it, or did you download the issues?
Yeah, I own it. I bought it at that on that comic book sale day.
I knew you bought American Vampire. I couldn't remember what else you bought.
Yep, just those two.
Yeah.
And I forget who wrote the foreword, some guy, but he mentioned that like, yeah, Rick Remender is not afraid to kill people off.
No, not at all.
That has definitely been the case in the first volume so far, I think.
And that's continues to be the case in Black Science.
Yeah, they kind of set up a little ensemble of main characters, and let's see, 1, 2, 3.
3. I'm remembering 3 so far.
I'm thinking, I can think of 3. One of them being the main character, as it was set up to that point.
Yeah,
like,
Grant.
Okay, here's 6 issues of this guy. This is the guy we're going to follow. And oh no,
dead.
He's crushed. He's dead.
With his hilarious nose, his Steve Carell nose, and his elbow spider web tattoo because he's hardcore.
Oh god, yeah. They keep making reference to him being an anarchist. And
yeah, he has what's it, the League of Anarchist Scientists or something?
Something like that. And then they show a flashback, and it's like, oh, he actually was a caricature of an anarchist.
Yeah, he had
When he
spiky
was in
hair and leather
college.
jackets and stuff. You know what? We should probably first actually talk about what the comic's about.
Sure. There's a scientist, but he's also an anarchist,
Ooh.
and he makes a machine called the Pillar that
Yeah,
allows people to travel between dimensions.
but in the Eververse or the Onion, depending on which character you ask, though all characters call it both things, so who knows?
Depending on how dumb they feel like talking. Because apparently there's some sort of multiverse that they call the Eververse, which I assume from them comparing it to an onion, it's supposed to be like a finite number of universes.
Well, I think it's like our universe where it's continuously expanding outwards, but I think Onion just is in reference to like how many layers there are,
Is there
or like not how many, but like the fact that there's layers to it.
is there a fundamental like difference between the layers? Like, oh, this layer of universes is
I don't think so. Well, I think
more
honest,
habitable.
okay, this is probably not what he's thinking of, or not even correct. They probably explained it, but the way I'm thinking of it is like because they've mentioned the fact that there's most likely one original universe,
Yeah.
and that basically every decision branches off into new universes. So I'm guessing it's like there's that one universe, and every single decision has branched off into one extra universe,
Like
and that's
every decision that anybody has made.
yeah, any decision that anybody has ever made at any point in their life has branched off into one more universe, and all those universes are around that first universe, and then those universes each branch off, creating the third layer, and so on and so forth. I'm guessing it's something like that.
So the farther out you get, just the more impossibly infinite.
Yeah, the more different it is, because that's something I really like about it is how crazy all the universes have looked so far. Like they have not yet found something that's terribly similar to human civilization. It's always like fish people or what look like frost giants, and
Yeah, let's see.
Indians have taken over
I've seen
Native Americans.
four universes, dimensions, whatever. Now, the first one is like there's a race of frog people and a race of kind of frog people that
With their titties out.
ride snakes, and they're at war with each other for whatever reason. Oh, and the frogs have electrical tongues that they use as whips.
Electric tongues and humanoid breasts.
That's true. They're quite sexualized for frog monsters.
Yeah, they are.
And after that,
I mean,
they go,
yeah, they are.
yeah. Then they go to one where, like, there's like Native American civilization is the most advanced, and they have robot suits and stuff. And then there's Germans.
It's just Germans.
That's it.
Just World War One-esque
like,
Germans.
Yeah, old Germans. And then they go to like a peaceful universe where it's like run by short lizard-looking things. And then they go to what looks like just the Himalayas with some Yetis. And that was the last I saw.
But the Yetis are controlled by like other spirit beings or
like
something.
A gaseous, living, sentient gas creature.
Yeah.
But yeah, I don't know. I'm interested in it. I like comics and any type of story that is
Oh, I think it just meant just in general.
no, and any type of story that
That's
like
the thesis of the show.
that isn't afraid to like kill significant characters. Like
Yeah.
that's a big thing for me. But when they kill everybody, especially the main character that they've been building up for the first volume, I don't know. I'm worried that like they're going to keep killing people off, and no one's going to get very much development.
You're gonna like Kadir.
See, you say that, but I don't yet. Like even after that last issue, where it's like, oh, he seems like he was kind of good the whole time, and he was just looking out for people's safety. Like that didn't seem to make any sense.
Oh no, he's still like a huge douche, but you're gonna like him at least a bit more.
Because like the stuff he was doing earlier, he seemed just objectively evil.
With his giant ears. Not even giant, they just come out really far. And his chin hair.
What little of it there is.
Yeah, well, he has a beard in the next volume, so that he looks better.
Oh, so time has passed.
Like a few weeks, I think.
Well, they've been jumping around between universes like every hour or 4 hours.
I think the last one was like 3 days, or maybe the second to last one. One of them, I think, in the first volume was 3 days. It was like 75 hours.
The peaceful one, yeah. I think that one lasted
Yeah,
a while.
it's completely random.
Well, yeah, but I'm just if 3 weeks have passed,
Yeah,
that would be a lot of universes probably.
yeah.
And God, that'll be awful because like you can't sleep because you're about to be thrown at any moment into a hellscape where wars are going on. God, that
Yeah,
sounds
pretty
awful.
rad.
Yeah.
Oh yeah, that awful.
Oh, and they touch on like
Boys.
because like at first it's just these other universes with like it's basically like going to a different planet, just different creatures and wars and whatnot, or Germans and Native Americans, and
Yeah, creatures.
yeah. But
Ooh, that sounds racist. I meant the Germans, not Native Americans.
is that much better?
Yeah, because I think we can all agree that because of World War II and stuff.
Okay,
Like we would to the
that
Native
was one group of
Americans,
Germans.
you Americans were the Germans. My hands are clean here.
Well, you're English, so
Yeah,
you've got a bigger history of imperialism and
yeah, but like
colonialism.
longer ago.
That's fair.
We've had more generations to breed that evil out.
Is it working?
I don't know. Don't care. I don't care about suffering and stuff.
Doesn't sound like it's working. But yeah, they introduce another version of the main character, like from another dimension.
Yeah, that design of his before he took his whole thing with that, like the breathing mask or whatever, was awesome.
I thought it was a woman up until that point.
Well, that's sexist.
Is it? I didn't say
Probably.
I didn't say I thought it was a woman and he couldn't drive.
I did say I thought it was a woman, and really hope he doesn't try to vote. She.
Try
Like,
keyword.
there's a comic that I want to write, and that if that design wasn't taken, that's like the design I would have wanted for the character, like one of the characters in my comic. It was like the Boba Fett character, because every good comic needs a Boba Fett.
Yeah, someone who is mysterious and just dies immediately.
What did Dob say in that one after hours? He said like Boba Fett.
Boba Fett.
Boba Fett.
Yeah.
So yeah, we got the old man Logan version of Grant McKay.
Is he going to come back?
Yeah, volume. I want to. He's definitely in volume 2. I don't remember if he's in volume 3. Because he's got like a handheld pillar, so he can like jump between dimensions.
Yeah, but it got broken
At
like,
will.
immediately.
Oh yeah.
Guess
He's
he has
broken,
just
really.
like a bag full of them somewhere.
Yeah, he's just a bag on his hip.
Yeah. Well, he does seem to escape through some portal at the end of.
Yeah, I
Volume
mean, like
one,
if you
so-
can build a handheld one, I'm sure he can cobble one together pretty easily.
I guess so. But yeah, so he comes in to the dimension they're in, and he keeps saying that like these people aren't real, or these other creatures. I don't know. I guess maybe I'll find out more about that later. But it seems like he's just really detached and does not care about anyone in any other dimension.
No, because his kids always die in every dimension.
Except for the one where his kids are still alive somehow.
So far.
So far. I
Yeah.
doubt that Rick Remender could easily kill them.
Just have them kill each other.
Like in Walking Dead. Suicide Pact.
Yeah. Or Carl just kills him. Or Carol, if we're talking TV show.
Ah, I love Carol. In the TV show, not in the comic.
Yeah.
She was terrible in the comic.
Oh man, my friend Matt, he got this like Walking Dead omnibus. It's not like an omnibus. It's like it's 4 volumes in one, so it's like an omnibus. But they have those compendiums that I would consider like the true Walking Dead omnibus. But it has like the original pitch for the Walking Dead in the back. It's like a 5 or 6 page story. First of all, Rick is built like Captain America. It's him and his wife. I want to say she still looks like Lori, but her name is Carol in the book. And they're like watching TV and they see like the news report about the zombies and stuff, and not much happens, but it's like the original, like pages of art for like the pitch of the comic. That was pretty cool.
So
And Rick is clean shaven.
So no coma.
No coma, unless he goes into one right after the zombie apocalypse starts.
And then wakes up somehow even more muscular.
They were giving him muscle massage to make sure he stayed muscular during his coma.
Does that work?
They said they did that in Phantom Pain, and
Yeah.
he looked skinny as hell. But he was in a 9-year coma. Rick was in it for like what, a month?
Something like that.
That was great.
That was
Actually,
a few
speaking of
months
Phantom
back.
Pain again, that was great. How when you crawl, you can actually see like the muscles under his skin moving on his back.
Wasn't really paying attention to that.
I was.
Guess we'll have to go back and play it again.
Been reading anything else?
No, not really.
What a pussy.
Haven't read anything else in a while.
Well, I read Black Science and Low. Oh, and I reread Miss Marvel because I got the last 2 volumes and I hadn't read them yet. So that was really good.
Like all the way through the last days.
Yeah, Last Days. And then I'm probably gonna stick to reading it as the volumes come out. Because it's good, but I feel like I wouldn't be too thrilled to read it one issue at a time. I'd rather just like read whole storylines.
I can't really do that anymore with almost anything. Like, I think Invincible.
I can do that with Invincible and Walking Dead really easily because every
much.
issue is just so thrilling and awesome.
I think those are the only two that I'm reading one by one at the moment.
Yeah, I can do that with like miniseries, like stuff that Mark Millar comes out with. I can do pretty easily. Like if it's like a finite number of issues and they come out fairly quickly. Speaking of that, freaking Invincible not coming out till April again.
Which is bullshit.
I know, because that's like of all the comics that I would be okay with waiting 4 months, Invincible is not one of them. I mean, I have to be, but maybe it means we'll get the next storyline pretty quickly, like maybe every 3 weeks instead of every month.
That'd be nice.
So what else did I read? I read Satellite Sam because I own all of it now. It was good. It wasn't really like the usual Matt Fraction stuff that I read. It was fine. I read it all in like pretty much one sitting. It was 15 issues. I don't know if I'd recommend it just based on liking Matt Fraction. I don't know if I'd recommend it because it's not like his stuff usually has some humor in it, and this kind of did, but it was mostly just like these people work in television in the 1950s. They have problems too, cocaine addictions and sex all the time and alcoholism, and this guy's secretly black and stuff like that.
Wait, is it a black and white comic?
Yeah.
Oh, so that's always secretly black. Everyone looks the same.
Pretty much.
They didn't have any color back then.
There's like 2 or 3 pages in the last issue that are in color when they like go to Hollywood and like the introduction to color TV and stuff.
And they are all on acid, I assume.
The whole time, like, do you see this? So that was decent.
So it's like
they do like
it's like the Mad Men of comics.
Sure, I haven't watched Mad Men.
Me neither, but it
Cigarettes
sounds like it.
I know that's all I know of Mad Men based on Abed from Community is just cigarettes.
Yeah, that's Mad Men. You got it.
So that was decent. There's like an omnibus, not omnibus, but like a deluxe edition that's all 15 issues in like a hardcover. I think it's like $5 cheaper. What?
It's just 15 issues?
Yeah, just 15. It ended. I think it's actually cheaper than buying the hardcover or the paperbacks individually. It's like $40, and I think it'd be 40. No, it would be 40 actually if you bought the paperbacks because the first one's $10. But I'm sure you get like a bunch of extras and stuff. But yeah, I don't know. It's fine. It's basically fine. The art is kind of garbage.
Yeah. How old is Howard Chaykin at this point?
Probably too old. It sounded, based on some of the stuff in the back, it sounded like he was around when color TVs were introduced.
He still does everything. Wait, so I guess there wasn't a colorist. He probably was against that. He didn't know they exist yet.
Well, no. Normally he has color in his comics. It's just this one because it was based in 1950s television. And every like other than one, like every female character was just the worst.
Did they get smacked around?
Some of them did. Actually, like the one who wasn't the worst was like the one who got beat up the most because she got like she found some stuff out she wasn't supposed to, and she got like someone hit her car, so she was all bloody and stuff. But every other female character is just banging everybody and just being awful, basically. Which I'm sure like it wasn't intended that way. Matt Fraction's usually really good about female characters.
Yeah. Sex
But
Criminals
then,
is great about that.
but again, he did have that one really good one in the comic. Who I was like, I want her to make it, and she did, so that was cool. And she didn't like bang everybody.
And then while Matt Fraction went to the bathroom, Howard Chaykin came in and was like, "Ooh, that's not gonna go well. Let's smack her around a bit." I assume that's what he sounds like.
I have to imagine that that's exactly how he sounds. Like old comic book artists, I assume, all kind of sound like that, just cigarette burned voices.
Yeah, I don't know what he looks like, but I'm just imagining.
I assume he looks like every one of his characters.
What's his name? Steranko? Jim Steranko?
Steranko. Yeah.
Because I saw him at Dragon Con, and he looked like a strange old man who was holding on to the past.
I think I have a comic by him, but I haven't read it yet. Nick Fury versus Shield.
Steranko? Or
yeah, it's like from the 80s. It was like a few dollars a Books A Million for like this giant. It's like, I think it's 6 issues, but it's the size of like 12 issues because they're all like double issues from like the 80s. And the end of it is like Nick Fury in what looks to be like a body length thong being tortured, I think. Like it goes from his crotch to his shoulders.
So like Borat's swimsuit?
Yeah, but black, and I think with some extra bits on it, like going around his waist and sides.
Yeah, at that point,
I don't know,
that
it's
doesn't
weird.
count for much.
So yeah, Satellite Sam's basically fine. The art, I wouldn't recommend it. Howard Chaykin, I think he used to be good, but nowadays his art just, I don't know, he draws hair so puby and everyone's so square-jawed and weird sausage fingers.
Like, 'cause he did that one issue, it was the annual of Iron Fist.
Oh, Iron Fist, yeah.
And, like, Iron Fist is not some big hulking guy. Like, he's just a normal guy who does martial arts. But his chin in that issue was, like, a foot wide.
He did, like, a few pages in I want to say Captain America 50 by Brubaker, where it was, like, the evil 1950s Cap in, like, a diner. And he just looks like a mongoloid. So what else have I read? Okay, Superman Earth 1 Volume 3. I'm rereading that. I haven't read it. Like I read it when it came out in February, and so I'm now reading it again, as well as Batman Earth 1 Volume 2, but I'm not on that yet.
What about Teen Titans?
So, I'm thinking about taking that on my shelf. It's fine, but I expected more from Lemire. But he kind of just writes the Teen Titans as like how older adults imagine delinquent kids, you know? Like, they're all smoking premarital sex and making out in parking lots and getting in trouble and stuff. And, like, none of them are particularly likable. The only one who's not, like, a complete asshole is Beast Boy. And he's just, like, he's such, like, a pansy. And I don't mean that in, like a making fun of homosexuals way. I mean in, like a wimp. You know, like, because I'm sorry, I'm going off topic again. I reread all of Brubaker's Captain America, as we talked about last week, and there's that Winter Soldier one-shot called Winter Kills, where he calls someone a pansy, and Hawkeye from the Young Avengers is like, whoa, some of our best friends are, and she's obviously going to say, you know, Hulkling and Wiccan are gay. And until that point, I had no idea that pansy meant like gay person. I just assumed it meant, like, wimp.
Yeah,
you know?
I don't think I'd ever heard it as...
Yeah, because Bucky said that too. He's like, "Oh, I just meant wimp. I'm not from around here." Because he's from
it's an insult, but it's not a slur, at least as far as I had.
Yeah, I didn't think it had anything to do with sexuality. Yeah. I thought it was just like, "Oh, there's a wimp. What a pansy."
Maybe if you called them a couple of Nancys or something, maybe that.
Yeah, Nancys, I get that, or Marys. But pansy, it's too good a word. So what was I talking about before that?
Teen Titans and how
Teen
they're
Titans.
written as
Beast Boy is just such like an unrelenting like pansy that he's you can't even really root for him because you're just like, oh my god, dude, just stand up for yourself, for God's sake. And then everyone else is just an asshole.
But he can turn into a gorilla.
Like he usually looks like a cat in a hoodie in that comic. And then Jeff Lemire, like, it's one thing that it's not great, but then Jeff Lemire was like, and it's not based in the continuity of the other Earth 1 books. And it's like, then don't call it Earth 1, because that implies that it's in Earth 1, which is its own reality with these other 2 books.
That's a pretty dumb call.
Yeah, it's a really dumb call. So, I mean, if he does the next one, I'll probably check it out, just see where he goes with it. But I don't know, it's not something I would probably read again or recommend to anyone, whereas the other 2 Earth 1 books and the upcoming Wonder Woman 1 by Grant Morrison, which I'm sure will be awesome, I would highly recommend because they're fantastic. What's up?
I said, ooh, I didn't know there was a Wonder Woman by Grant Morrison coming up.
Yeah, that's coming out in April, and apparently she has a vagina-shaped, jet, whatever, invisible jet. And there's no fighting, I think you said?
Doesn't sound very aerodynamic.
Clearly you know nothing about the female form, Luke.
Well, that much is true.
And he said he almost ended it with like a huge fight and then decided against it because that wasn't what he was going for, which to me sounds terrible right now, but I'm trusting Grant Morrison with this. I'm sure it's going to be trippy and fun to read.
Yeah, I still haven't read any of the Earth 1 books.
Yeah, I know, and you're wrong.
I'm sorry.
They're fantastic. Wonder Woman is coming out in April, I think. So far, I think it was supposed to come out like last year and then this year, and now it's got like basically a release date for April. I'm really excited for that. The art is, I think I want to say you like this artist, Yannick Paquette. I think he did like the first few issues and then a few like sprinkled here and there of Scott Snyder's Swamp Thing.
I mean, I don't remember the name. Doesn't sound familiar, but I did like that. Yeah, the beginning of Scott Snyder's Swamp Thing.
Well, it's that guy, and so I'm pretty excited for that because, I mean, I really love the Earth 1 books, but they come out so infrequently, and there's only 2 series so far until next year. I'm glad that they're coming out with more because I think Gary Frank's work is drawing Batman Earth 1 Volume 3 right now, so hopefully there won't be a 3-year wait for that one this time. And then Francis Manapul is writing and doing the art for Aquaman Earth 1, so that's the one I'm a little wary about just because I've never read anything that he's written.
Did he not do The Flash, or did he just do the art for that?
I think it said it was by both of them, but sometime I'm going to say that he probably did have a hand in writing it, but I think sometimes they will say, by such and such and such and such, like as 2 people, but it'll really, equal, written by this guy and drawn by the next guy.
Yeah, so or it might be like, one person did the script and one person just did the story or something like that.
Yeah. I'm hoping it's going to be good because I like Aquaman, I like his art, so, hopefully his writing will make it a holy trinity.
I liked Jeff Johns' Aquaman, and whoever came right after that, was that Buccellato or...
Buccellato. That was John Ostrander, I think. Maybe? No, it might have been.
Whoever took over right after Jeff Johns, I thought was still fine. And then Cullen Bunn started, and I lost interest. So.
And then I think Dan Abnett writes it now.
Oh, really?
So that could be good.
But not with Andy Lanning?
No. They haven't been doing much together lately.
Oh, did
they broken up? We're going to say they broken up.
Oh.
They did the Hypernaturals a few years ago. That was pretty good. I haven't really heard much from...
Was that just a separate independent comic?
Yeah, that was independent. It was kind of like their version of the Legion of Superheroes. It was pretty good. It was only 12 issues, but I own it all. And then Straczynski, he did Superman Earth 1 volume, or Superman Earth 1. He is doing Flash Earth 1, which sucks because I was writing that a while ago. I got so jazzed up about it. I was 30 pages into it, and then it was like, J. Michael Straczynski now, so he's doing Flash Earth 1. And so I was like, okay, well, that's all down the tube.
You just can't catch a break.
I know. I mean, at least it's happening, so that's cool. So I like to think the universe was like, well, we're not using your version, but here you go. You get to read it when it comes out in a couple years.
Are there any other Earths that you could just switch it to? Like Flash Earth 4?
Yeah, I mean, if like, somehow I was able to get a job writing for DC, I could, like, just because it says Earth 1, like, it's not like anyone in the comic is like, hey guys, how are you doing on this fine Earth 1 day? Like, it's easily just like another version of the Flash.
You should rewrite it like that, where it's just constant references to where they are. And have an Earth 1 day.
But I do have my finished Green Lantern Earth 1 script. So, I mean, if I can win this Mark Miller contest, I'll find out on Wednesday. So that'll be a tense day. Yeah, that's gonna like if it's not already up by the time I wake up, it's gonna be like an awful day of waiting. Especially if I don't win. That'll fucking suck.
You're adorable.
Thank you. So when I do that, or if I can win that, I'll be published next year, and then I can try and get a job writing for Valiant. And then if I can get just stuff made that's good, maybe DC will come knocking and I can be like, hey, by the way, I already have this finished script for Green Lantern Earth 1. And it's awesome.
Ooh, Jeff Johns just turned that in.
That would, I would love that, honestly, but that would just be unfair at this point. Because of how much awesome Green Lantern he's already written. It's like, dude, you already did Secret Origin. Just leave it, okay?
Let it go.
You're not allowed to write more incredible Green Lantern. Give someone else a chance. Give me a chance. Me, specifically. Did you read it yet? I sent you the script a while ago.
I think I did. Yeah, I remember bits and pieces of it. It's been a while. I didn't have any art to match it with. But,
yeah, I always, I never think about that when I send people my scripts. Non, actual companies who are used to that. But it's like, oh yeah, these people are used to reading comic books. These are just words. Yeah. This doesn't mean anything.
Gotta use some sort of imagination.
Gotta make a movie in your head.
Dream theater.
And then I know Straczynski pretty much ended his story. Not, ended it, but, he, tied up pretty much all the loose ends in Volume 3 of Superman Earth 1.
And Superman blows up.
Yeah, he blows up at the end in a fiery tornado. He did say that he would write as many as they let him, basically. So I'm hoping that he does another one because they're all and mostly because all 3 volumes so far have taken place over the course of maybe a month. So I would really like if he wrote more Superman stories that establishes him as part of this world.
Not just this month of some guy flying around.
Yeah, because if he dies, it's because it's I was watching Dark Knight Rises last night. It was on TBS of all channels. And I was like, well, I got nothing else going on. I can listen to Bane talk. And there was the bit where JGL is talking to that kid at the orphanage, and he's drawing little bat symbols, and he's like, oh, you know about him? And the kid's like, yeah. And it's like, how would he know about him? This is a little kid, and Batman was around for 6 months, 8 years ago.
That is weird.
Yeah, right? He did. Yeah. I mean, it's been 8 years, and we live in a world of a 24-hour news cycle. Most adults won't remember Batman.
Yeah. Well, I mean, that kid was just sitting by himself, right? Because the kind of kid that obsesses over vigilantes from 8 years ago doesn't have many friends.
That's true, and he's an orphan.
Or family.
And then JGL just knew who he was. Because he was angry in the eyes.
Yeah. Nobody's ever been that angry.
Only the bats. Okay, so my original point from a while ago, Superman Earth 1 Volume 3. I'm rereading it. I'm going to be spoiling the hell out of the series, just so you know, because you haven't read them a dick. But I think you'll get over it, because they're basically just 3 big action movies, and they're awesome.
I mean, I don't mind terribly much about spoilers about big name heroes such as
because
Superman.
It's not like they're going to make a big change. It's not like, oh, and then he died at the end and grew a mustache. It's just going to be like, oh, and then he wins.
Yeah.
And some side character dies.
Spoilers.
So basically, it's him as I think he's 21. He comes to Metropolis in Volume 1, and he's going through all these different jobs because he's probably the most intelligent person on the planet. He could be the dumbest Kryptonian, and he'd still be the smartest on Earth. Because Kryptonians are basically all scientists. They're all genius people. So he comes to Metropolis from Smallville. His dad's died already. So he talks to Martha all the time. And he's going through all these different jobs. He's super smart. He can play every sport. He can write good, I guess. And then these aliens show up. And they took... Man of Steel took this from the comic, which I thought was pretty cool because it was a cool concept. The aliens, it's not Zod. It's an alien that looks like if David Bowie was a panda, and his name's Tyrell. And he comes to Earth with his alien people, and does the same thing that Zod did.
Various musicians, but also pandas?
They all look like David Bowie pandas.
Okay.
Although I think some of them have dreadlocks and long hair, and he just has spiky hair.
Like a David Bowie panda, sure.
Yeah, David Panda Bowie. So he does the same thing that Zod did in Man of Steel, where he does a big news broadcast, not news, but goes on TV, and is if you don't, we know there's a he's basically we know there's a Kryptonian here, give him to us, or we'll start just murdering everybody. So Clark has to decide if he's gonna not be a dick and save the world. And his mom's like made him his suits because they, his parents know that one day he's gonna be able to, be like use his powers out in the open and stuff. So they made him a super suit for some reason. And like they were probably kicking themselves after Batman Earth 1 came out because he doesn't have panties, whereas Superman totally has panties. Like the suit's cool, don't get me wrong. There's something nostalgic and cool about the panties.
Is his mom
sometimes
like, really proud of it, but he can't he just can't come to complain about it? Like, Clark, don't you love your little panty suit?
That's probably true. Like every version of Superman, other than New 52, where he wears like Kryptonian armor. So it's like flashbacks sometimes to when he was younger and talking to Jonathan Kent, and it's a great comic. It's very well written, but it has one of the dumbest conversations I've ever read in a comic book. And it's them it's Martha and Jonathan Kent explaining to Clark why they put an S on his outfit, and it's like, just say it means hope. That's all. Just say it. It was on your blankets when you came to Earth. We figured it was like your family symbol or whatever. For all we know, it could just be like for all we know, it could just be your people's version of like this is a baby or something. But just say that. But instead, we get this. Okay, he's sitting in the kitchen with Martha, and he says, "And what about this? Why an S?" And she says, "Your father and I had a disagreement about that." Sorry, let me do the voice. Your father and I had a disagreement about that. I wanted some sort of symbol for you, and figured S was right, because you're a, in bold, son of whatever world sent you here, just as you are a, in bold, son of Earth, and, in bold, my son. And then Jonathan Kent comes in, and he says, too vague, or, god damn it, vague's not a word, too vague, too fuzzy, too cute. He comes in, he's like, getting a soda pop, and he's wearing overalls. He's just been working, like a man. Clark's just sitting here talking to his mom, probably about computer book learning or something. And he says, my cousin was in advertising, and he said you pick a symbol to get across one clear idea. That's all the public has the patience for. You're not just different from every other man, Clark. You're more powerful than any other man in history. And then it's like a montage of him putting on the suit. Just like out in the open. He's on top of a building in the middle of a city. And he just got nude, I guess, and pulled his suit on.
Yeah, but he could do it super fast.
He wasn't. It says, you're unique in all the world, extraordinary. Not just any man. This is, remember, like, whenever I go, that's like in bold, when I have emphasis. Not just any man, and more than just a man, Superman. And then it shows him, like, full body, Superman. So that was one of the dumbest things I've ever read.
So, like, she thinks that he's the only son in the world? Is that what
I
she thinks?
have no idea. But, like, that, the Superman thing, that is a bit it's still not good, but it's a bit better. But her thing, like, well, I said it's because you're a son of your planet and a son of Earth, and you're my son. Like, so son, you want his superhero name to be Son.
Yeah, they could have just skipped forward to, we like Superman. We think that should be your name. Here's an S.
Yeah, like, Superman sounds good. You have these superpowers, you've never heard of anything like it. Here's an S for Superman. It's easy, it's understandable, people recognize it.
In fact, we just made up the word superpowers because nobody has ever had them before.
So yeah, that every other thing in these comics is really good. It's just that dumbass conversation. And again, just say it means hope. Say it was on your chest, your thing, and then he finds like a recording from Jor-El, and he's like, "Oh, that's our family symbol. It means hope." That's all you need.
From us, the Superman family.
Cal Superman.
Well, when I read it, I'll just assume that she has dementia. And that Clark,
she's the one who lives.
And Clark is just humoring her. She's like, "Oh,
he's like, okay, Mom.
Okay, Mom, yeah."
So long story short, he decides to become Superman, and he fights the aliens. And he finds out that like they destroyed Krypton because they were in like they orbited the same sun, the red sun Rao as Krypton. And, like, every 20 years or so, their planets would get close enough in their orbits to, like, fight each other. Because they didn't have, like, long-range spaceships. They just, like, they could basically go into orbit. So they were just, like,
fight, say that, like, whoever was closest on that edge of the planet would just, like, shoot a gun into space.
So they would go to war every 20 years. And then somebody comes to their planet. I don't know if it had a name or not. I don't really care. and is like, hey, here's how you destroy Krypton. Also, here's how to get around the universe. Just make sure that nobody survives. Like, if a single Kryptonian gets away, you hunt them down and you kill them. So that's why they're here, because of this agreement. And it's like, at that point, it's been 21 years. Just forget about it. You know, like, yeah, we got him.
So some random spaceman just came and told them to be super racists?
No, they already hated Kryptonians anyway.
Yeah, but, like, it seemed like it even made it worse.
A little bit. He gave them the means to be more racist. Though this ties into Volume 3 anyway. Like that's why he said it ended, is because this whole thing gets tied up in Volume 3. Volume 2 is basically like I won't say like a filler. It's really good, but it doesn't really have much of anything to do with what happens in 1 and 3. I mean, like stuff that happens in it, they have an effect on 3, but it's like it has nothing to do with Krypton or anything.
1 and 3 are kind of the overarching story, and then
1 and 3 are the beginning and the end, and then 2 is just like a Superman adventure that like it kind of ties in, but not really. Basically, it's just him versus Parasite. It's really good. Like it's a cool it's a cool like fight and stuff. And he has to like he lives without superpowers for like a few hours, which like freaks him out because he's never not had superpowers.
Oh no, poor Superman! Oh, you can't fly. How terrible that must be.
Well, he almost has sex, and because like there's a flashback to a talk he had with Jonathan Kent, where Jonathan's
like
that
he can never ever have sex.
Yeah, basically, he's like I don't want you to tear anyone apart.
Do you understand me, Clark? With your dick,
it's a member of Steel. So like he loses his powers, and he's like talking to his hot neighbor. And then, like, as she's, like, about to, like, touch his boner, he gets his powers back. And he's like, I gotta go! And he goes to go get his superpowers, and he's like, why, God, why couldn't you have given me an extra 5 minutes?
Do his pants just rip open with the force of it?
I don't think he was wearing pants. Because she saw his wiener. She was like, I didn't know you went commando, Clark. Because he tossed his Superman costume behind a dumpster and just stole some, like, homeless people clothes out of, like, a Goodwill box.
Jesus, don't they have it bad enough?
Right? Like, it's Superman. He's stealing from the homeless now. So he gets back, and obviously he wasn't wearing underwear, which means that his junk was just flopping around inside of homeless people clothes.
Just destroying it.
So it's a good thing that, like, when he gets his powers back, he's probably immune to all diseases.
Yeah.
Venereal and otherwise. So he gets his powers back.
What if he gets a disease while he doesn't have his powers?
I think it would probably just cure itself.
Alright.
He'd probably have it for like that, 6 hours that he had no powers, but he's like, oh, why does this itch so much? Oh, I'm good. So he gets his powers back, he fights Parasite, and then at the end they introduce the Luthers. There's 2 of them, like squared. There's Alexandra and Alexander Luthor. Husband and wife.
It's like Chameleon in the Ultimate Universe.
Yeah, exactly like that.
Wait, did you say they're husband and wife?
Yeah, husband and wife.
And they have the same
name. Yeah. They actually did the same thing.
It's like the Millhouses in The Simpsons.
They did the same thing in Batman Earth 1 Volume 2. I think they wouldn't have if it didn't take so long to come out, but I think it was already locked in by the time Superman came out, so they were like, oh, well. Where there's 2 Dents. There's twins, Jessica and Harvey Dent. And it seems pretty clear that Jessica's going to become Two-Face, as opposed to Harvey.
Or they're going to get cut in half and fused together.
Actually, just like in this version where, whatever, spoilers, the male Lex dies, and the female Lex becomes, like, she's Lex Luthor now. Like, she hates Superman at the end.
Is she bald?
No, weirdly. I totally thought she was going to lose her hair by the end of it, like in Superman Heat Vision fight or Kryptonite poisoning or something, but no, she's got hair. But, like, the interesting thing was that the male Lex was, like, sympathetic to Superman, which I thought was cool. Because you never really get to see that. Or you would think that, like, something would happen, like his wife would die, and he would be like, oh, Superman! But he was cool throughout the comic. Taming some strange and whatnot. So... And during Volume 2, he, like, overthrows a dictatorship, this, like, planet. He goes to it in, like, the beginning of the comic, and he's like, hey, I'm helping people in the flood, and the dictator's like, these are my people, you best get out. And Superman's like, okay, he flies away.
Let my people drown.
And he has like a dream of going into the dude's country and just blasting everyone apart with his heat vision. And then at the end of the comic, he basically does that he doesn't kill anybody, but
it's just like my dream.
he busts through the dude's fortress and he like lets all the rebels in and stuff, and basically just leaves the dude at the mercy of the rebels and then flies away. So like in Volume 3, the United Nations are like, holy crap, nope, can't have that. Like, we get that this was a bad dude, but like, who's to say who he's gonna think is, the next bad guy, right? Which is understandable, I guess.
Because he's a god.
Yeah, because he's a god. But come on, it's Superman. He's a good guy. Just you know that in your bones.
How long has he been around at this point in this story?
Well, I want to say that the whole Earth 1 Superman series has taken place over the course of probably less than a month.
Okay.
Not counting flashbacks.
Yeah, that is not enough time to be, like, a widely trusted godlike figure.
Okay, anyway, so Zod comes to Earth. It turned out that Zod was the one who sold out Krypton.
Zod or Bowie Panda?
Zod. He hired the Bowie Pandas to destroy Krypton. And like I said, he was like, do that. I'll give you these spaceships or this technology, but you have to promise that if any get away, you hunt them down and kill them. So that's why they showed up in the first volume. And then Zod shows up and he's all like, "Hey, Clark, I'm your uncle," because it's Zod L, like it is in Smallville. He's like, "I'm your uncle. Let's save stuff together. Be pals, yeah." And like he didn't touch him or anything.
But he's thinking.
So
about it.
He's oh my god, like so much, like that rockin' bob that Superman has. So he meets with the UN and he's like I'll take care of Superman. You leave him to me. But you don't get in the way. I'll kill him, but if he asks for help, you turn your back on him. It's like it's all very like Jesus-y.
Here's like, 30 space dollars.
30 space bucks. Actually, I didn't even think about this until I reread 3, but his friend that he has in it, who becomes a girlfriend at the end of Volume 3, is a former prostitute. Jesus.
God damn it.
Whoa, you can't say that. We're talking about Jesus. He'll get
Shut
mad.
Your mouth.
Walk across some water at you. Like one of those lizards. I assume it's exactly like that.
Jesus.
Exactly. So he's like, I'll kill him. You don't interfere. I don't know. It seems cooler than most superhero fights because it's basically like super murder.
When he says that, are the UN like, what the fuck are we going to do to interfere with you?
Throw some missiles at him or something. I don't know.
Yeah, that'll work.
So they all agree, and Zod takes Superman out to a ship, and he's like, "Oh, I got some stuff I want to show you." I'm sure he said it less creepy than
in my space van.
In my space van. And he Clark's like right next to the ship, and Zod opens it, and there's a bunch of kryptonite in it. So Superman's like, "Yeah, kryptonite," Zod's got like a.
Oh, okay. Sorry. Continue.
So, you could say, does that work on Zod?
Yeah.
He's wearing like a special like skin suit that shields him from the radiation.
Would you just say a skin suit?
Skin suit, yeah, like a Zentai.
Like whose skin? Like the skin of someone who's immune to kryptonite?
like skin that, like it's on the skin. It's very thin. It's all clear. You can't even tell he's wearing it.
Oh, space spandex.
Space spandex, exactly. So he's shielded from it. Clark is all like, "Rah!" And he manages to break Zod's suit, which lets the radiation in. So Zod has to, close it or whatever. And Superman gets away, and he crash lands near like an army base, and he's like, and they're like, and he's like, "Excuse me," and they're like, Well, they're like we would if we could, but we've been told to just look the other way.
No,
which that's
no, I like your way that they convey so much emotion with so few words.
Every emotion known to man is just summed up perfectly. So they've been told to look, like literally they use the words "look the other way," which just makes it sound like this is part of some spousal abuse case.
Do you guys hear anything? I don't hear anything.
Just keep your eyes down and keep walking. You didn't see anything. I
don't know if I could say no to Superman.
Right? Well, then again, only a month again. If it was like he'd been around for years helping kitty cats and stuff, you'd be like, oh, screw that, I'm going to go see it. They should have had somebody who
No,
was like...
it's not about him being a good person and that being the right thing to do. He should be terrifying to them. Like,
that's also...
maybe he's weak right then.
He wears red panties. He wears panties over his clothes, so...
He does wear red panties, but I'm not going to tell him that.
That's how he gets away with it. Fear. I feel like there should have been, like, I don't know, maybe it was cut out, but I feel like there should have been some military group or whatever that was like, screw that, we're going to help Superman, and it just didn't happen.
Because they got murdered first.
Yeah, exactly. So he takes the fight to Metropolis, of course, because that's like the only... Superman can go to Metropolis or the world. Like, there's two places in the world, and it's Metropolis or not Metropolis. And he always ends up in Metropolis. So they're fighting, and the Luthors show up. The good one, Lex, the man Luthor.
Whoa, that's sexist.
Yeah. And he shoots Superman with like a red light gun, whatever, to take away his powers.
I thought he was the good one. You just said that seconds ago.
He doesn't feel good about it.
Then why does he do it?
Because his wife's like, hey, we should do that. And he was like, oh, good. He's a dopey sitcom husband. So he's like, boom, and he's like, oh my god, what have I done? And so this military lady and his wife are like, oh, we're gonna kill him. And then he disappears with the red sun gun, and he shows up where they're fighting again, and this time he shoots Zod.
Because all Kryptonians look alike to him.
Yeah, exactly.
Sure.
Well, because he's like, Superman's not the bad guy here. Let's take this other guy out, and because he realizes, like, we've just sanctioned a murder, and I don't know why, but every time like the military or whoever in a Superman comic wants to kill him, they're like, it's okay, he's an alien. It's like he's technically better than you evolutionarily. Like, it's not like he's some animal.
Yeah, that makes him a threat.
They equated him to a rabid dog. If anything, humans are the rabid dog to Kryptonians.
Yeah, and as soon as he realizes that, he's going to wipe us all out.
You sound just like the military Luke. So he shoots Zod, and Zod's all weak, and Superman kind of powers up a little bit. He's still getting the crap kicked out of him.
I was hoping it was just going to end with just two regular guys punching each other in the face.
Yeah, it does, actually.
Yeah, alright then.
Lex is like, oh, you're both equal now, so fight. And it's like, even when they had superpowers, Clark was losing because he's not a soldier. Zod's a soldier.
Superman's like, what? No, wait!
And he throws, the gun finally charges up again, and he goes to shoot Zod again, and Zod throws like a steel beam at him, and it impales him, but he hits Zod, so Zod's unpowered. And then his wife shows up, and she's like, oh my god, my love! And then she shoots Zod in the chest a bunch of times and kills him. And then Superman's like, whoops. And he picks up the red sun gun and flies away because he didn't know this, but Lex is like the only person on the planet that was able to make it. So since he has the only one, then like nobody else can figure it out. So that's taken care of. So like Alexandra Luthor like swears revenge on Superman, and she's like, just call me Lex now. Yeah, again, some of the dialogue isn't the best, but for the most part, they're very good comics. The stories are great. And then Superman goes to the UN, and this like very terrified like intern goes up to the stand, and he's like, our next speaker, well, I'm just gonna let him open the floor. And Superman walks up and just yells into the mics at like the assembled leaders of the free world, and he just goes, "What the hell were you thinking?" And
they all go deaf.
And he looks down at like the translators, and he's like, "Did that translate? Did that need to translate?" And he gives them like this whole speech about like, I'm new at this. I made a mistake taking down that dictator. I crossed the line. I'm not going to do that again. And he's like,
sorry for doing your jobs, dickweeds.
I know, right? Sorry for making sure people were safe. And he's like, next time I'm here to help. You don't need to worry about me. You need to worry about the guy who takes me down. And then he sort of leaves. Owen warns them to never, ever do that again.
Do they?
So
Are they ever going to do it again?
I don't know. Hopefully we'll get a volume 4.
To be continued.
So yeah, I would love if they made like a Man of Steel 2 kind of based on that. Like that idea that the governments are pretty much okay with someone trying to kill him and all turning their back on him. I think that would be kind of rad in a movie. Obviously it wouldn't be Zod. It'd be like Brainiac or someone. But I'm hoping maybe they'll even use part of it in Batman Superman. Like maybe they hire Lex Luthor to do it, or Superman, or Batman even.
Maybe.
That'd be kind of cool. I would love that scene where he yells at the UN. I thought that was really awesome, and I would love that in a movie.
You assholes.
And it starts breaking necks.
Open the floor to Superman, and then Superman opens the floor. Well, I think that's about all the time we have for today.
Yeah.
Unless you had anything else to add.
No, I think that was about it.
Another perfect episode.
Flawless, I think.
Nothing to be done about it. Thanks for listening.
Okay.
Thank the fans, Dane. Thank the fans.
Thank you, fans.
Bye.
Bye, daisies.